This video is brought to you by Dr. Kristen R. Bromley's Guitar Method Book Series and Online Music Academy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen Bromley. Welcome to my online academy. I love being here helping you with playing the guitar. In this video, we're going to take a look at dominant 7th chords that have both a flatted 5th and a flatted 9th. So I'll explain these chords. We'll look at a couple voicings that work really well for this type of chord on the guitar. And we'll jam together on a chord progression right along with bass and drums accompaniment so we can practice using these voicings. It's going to be great. This video accompanies lesson 29 from my Chords and Harmony Books 1 and 2 method book. In the book, as we get started, pages 188 and 189 have some explanations there that go right along with what I'll be going over here in the video. Then we're going to play song number 1 from page 190. Okay, so dominant 7th chords that have a flatted 5th and a flatted 9th. And I'll demonstrate this in the key of C since that's what is notated there as the examples. So, with a dominant 7th chord that has the flatted 5th, we have that root 3 and then the flat 5. Then we're going to have the flatted 7th. And now we've got a flatted 9th that's also going to be added to that. And so we've learned in previous videos that means that matches the flat 2 step of the scale. So that's 1 fret higher than the root. So from a C up to a D flat, only it's going to be in the upper octave so that we can have that sound of the D flat in the space of the 9th, which is 1 octave higher than the 2nd. And we get a dominant 7th chord with a flat 9 and a flat 5. So pretty involved there. We can play this chord when we see the root and the 7 in the word alt, the little abbreviation there. We can also play it, of course should play it, when we see following that number 7 in the chord symbol, something that tells us to have the flat 5. So the flat sign next to the 5 or a minus sign next to the 5, and then a flat sign next to the 9 or a minus sign next to the 9, and that will tell us flat that 9, flat that 5, right with that dominant 7th chord, and that's what we will do. So let's learn these voicings. I'm going to demonstrate these at the 6th fret on the guitar. So we've got a B flat at the 6th fret of the 6th string and then E flat at the 6th fret of the 5th string. So my demonstration will include an E flat 7, flat 5, flat 9, or a B flat 7, flat 5, flat 9, depending on which voicing. We've got the 6th string form here and the 5th string form there, meaning that we've got the root on the 6th string for this form and the root on the 5th string for that form. Okay, so we'll look at the 6th string form first. Now, as we start doing these alterations, it's not always possible to play this low root, or it doesn't become necessary. If we're playing in an ensemble, sometimes we can ditch this because the bass player's got it, and we can just play the top 4 strings. This voicing can be really hard to play and include the root, though I'm going to show you a couple ways that we can do it. So if we were doing what we would call in rootless context, first, we won't even look at the root. We have index, middle, ring, and pinky. Super easy to play, but as soon as we try playing this root, it's a little harder. We do need to have a placement, though, to find it along the guitar. So even if we don't use the root, we always have to visually know where that root is at. So I'm going to stick the root at the 6th string. We'll talk about how we would play it here in a minute. 1 fret lower than the 6th string, we're going to have our index finger on that 2nd string. And then middle is going to be in the same fret as the root, and it's going to be on the 4th string. Then ring and pinky on the 3rd and top strings, 1 fret higher than where the root would be. So if I play this in a rootless context, I've got that with my index finger at the 5th fret, because my root would be in the 6th fret. Now, if I want to catch that root, I can take my index finger, press this down, and then bar over and push in this fret here with the index finger, but I got to be careful not to press down the 5th string, and that is a pretty tricky little thing to pull off. It's doable, but it is tricky. It's especially tricky for a grab. An alternate thing is to bring your thumb around and grab that note, and then you can mute that 5th string as well, one way or another. Both of those are a little bit tricky to pull off. I'm using my middle finger to mute that 5th string, and I'm pulling that 6th string with my root. That is an okay way to play it as well. One of those ways will do, but you can also just play it in the rootless form, allowing the bass player to catch the root when he needs to. So that's that one. Let's look at the 5th string form. This one's a little bit easier. We can actually catch the root without much trouble. Middle finger is going to go on that root, then index finger, 1 fret lower on the next string, and that finger is going to bar across the top 4 strings, because we'll catch on those top 2 strings in those frets. Ring finger is going to be in the same fret as the root on the 3rd string and we get E flat 7, flat 5, flat 9 right there. So you can practice going back and forth between these voicings if you want to, which is really what we're going to do with the chord progression that we're going to play. So on page 190, you'll find chord progression number 1. You'll see just the root notes written there. That's because with this progression, we can practice any of the chords that we learned with lesson 29, which is really helpful. So as we get started, we'll play that first C7, flat 5, flat 9, and then we'll go up to F7, flat 5, flat 9. Then we'll go to B flat 7, flat 5, flat 9. And then we'll do E flat 7, flat 5, flat 9. And we'll go so on and so forth following through that chord progression. I am just going to use the do-dot strumming pattern. And as we go through this, if you want to ditch the root altogether with that 6-string form, you can, because the root will be played by the bass player. So you can do that. You can actually do that with both of them if you wanted to, but it's not necessary. But you can if you'd like to. When we're playing in an ensemble context, the bass player takes care of those roots for us, so it's okay to ditch that low root if we decide to. So it's okay with that F7 to do that as well. You might find it nice to just go back and forth between these, just playing on those top 4 strings. It works really handy. It's really easy to do that sort of thing with these voicings. Alright, so we're going to play this progression twice. First at a slower tempo, then at a faster tempo, and I just use that do-dot strumming pattern that we're so familiar with. Alright, let's do this. Okay, in the next 3 videos, we're going to work our way through the other chord progressions that are found here with lesson 29, which will give us lots of opportunity to practice playing the chords that we've been learning here in lesson 29 in different chord progression contexts that come right from typical situations where we see it in playing music. So it's going to be great. Take care, and I'll see you again.
Thanks for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And be sure to check out more great content. You can find more information about me and my products at KristenBromley.com. Take care.